Good evening and happy Friday. TGIF to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for about an hour of actual news where we will reveal and not reveal, we will review everything that really happened today. President Biden welcomed UK's PM Starmer. I have exact readouts from what happened before their meeting, during the meeting, after the meeting. What has been discussed about Ukraine and that infamous issue, whether Ukraine is able or not able to strike deep inside Russia and eliminate those um, war sites or the equipment that shoots the missiles into Ukraine. Then we're also going to talk about what happened in the morning at the White House. President Biden welcomed the guests to celebrate Black excellence at the South Lawn. So we're going to discuss that. I streamed that as well. Then also VP Harris was at a rally today. Also, Trump held a meeting in California. So we're going to review the hot moments, so to speak. And in terms of the rally, it really mirrored the rallies yesterday in North Carolina. So we're not going to have many clips from that. I'm just going to discuss it and review what is new. And some international news and readouts on the topics that are not really reported on in the mass media, not at all. From the Treasury, from the IRS, from all kinds of different departments within the government that nobody reports on. We're going to talk about it tonight. So if that's first time for you joining, hi, Brandon. Hey, please comment, please share your thoughts, ask questions if something that I'm saying is not really resembling what you know. And if you have sources, please let me know. We're going to review it together, and I gladly stay corrected if needed. Okay. Again, thank you so much for joining. First readout that I want to present to you is that President Biden proclaimed September 15th through September 21st, 2024 as National Farm Safety and Health Week. And quoting the president, he goes, "I call upon the people of the United States, including America's farmers, ranchers, and agriculture-related institutions, organizations, and businesses to reaffirm a dedication to farm safety and health. I also urge all Americans to express appreciation and gratitude to our farmers, farm workers, and ranchers for their tireless service to our nation." And if you're subscribed to the emails, in tonight's newsletter, you're going to get the details as to what does the Biden-Harris administration do in terms of numbers and in terms of money for the farmers. How are they uniting together the farmers with the business owners, with those that are developing different approaches to farming and healthier ways and whatnot. So all of that, they invest in this project. It's part of Invest in America Act, the IRA. So the details will be in the readout in your email. So I'm not staying here for 3 hours reading on everything. So next, also President Biden proclaimed September 15th through September 21st as the National Historically Black Colleges and Universities Week. He says, I call upon educators, students, public officials, professional organizations, corporations, and all Americans to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities that acknowledge the countless contributions these institutions and their alumni have made to our country. And that leads us to celebrating the Black excellence this morning or this noon with a brunch at the White House on the South Lawn. It looked magnificent. It looked beautiful. I highly encourage you to watch the video. The video will be in that email here in the newsletter, so you can tap and watch it. And also, I streamed it on Twitter. I streamed it on YouTube, so you can take a look. President Biden explained his dedication and also his life's work, really benefiting the Black community. And I saw those viral videos. I don't know about you, but I saw the videos where, let's say, CNN let people watch the debate, and then there was one lady that went viral where she said that what did Kamala Harris do for African American community? What has she accomplished? Nothing was done. She's just using it as a label. So, with this in mind, I put a very lengthy fact check based on White House data in this newsletter, free newsletter that you're going to get tonight. So, onest.substack.com. It's very long. It goes from health to wealth to community building to education. It goes really, topic by topic as to what have they introduced, what have they done. So we're fact checking. If that's not enough, it's really up to you. If it's not, again, it's up to you. But read it, and so you're well informed in case something goes viral and you don't really know what to believe. So this will be in the newsletter. So again, this morning, President Biden welcomed folks to the White House. I have a bit of, we call it color in terms of like the emotional part of the event, which you don't really see behind the live stream or broadcast. So he said, welcome to the first ever White House brunch to celebrate Black excellence, Biden told the crowd. And the audience started chanting, thank you, Joe. And it kept, they kept chanting for a while. And then Biden, who was speaking, noted that his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, is a proud Haitian American, adding that Haitian American communities under attack now. I'm going to have a full readout just after I'm done with this summary, because this topic, especially because it was started by former President Trump during the debate, right, about the cats and the dogs in Haitian community. It led to almost violence today. It has to stop. President Biden spoke about it. This issue has been raised at the White House press conference today. So I have a clip for you, and we can discuss that topic further. So Biden, he was wearing his aviator sunglasses and navy suit, arrived on stage and gestured and pointed to various people in the crowd. There appears to be a couple thousand guests at hand. Everyone was dressed in white suits and dresses. They also were seated in circular tables, eating brunch, which was eggs, toast, bacon, and other items. So President Biden commented then specifically on Haitian American community, stating, I want to take a moment to say something. So many Americans like Karine, as she pointed out, are proud Haitian Americans, a community that's under attack in our country right now. It's simply wrong. There's no place in America. This has to stop. What he is doing, it has to stop. So he didn't call really Trump by his name, but he spoke at him or to him, of course, through the screen. And so this issue was raised at the White House press conference. Take a look.
Is his message intended for Donald Trump?
I think what the president said speaks for itself. I think he was very clear. He saw it as an opportunity. He had 1,200 people celebrating Black excellence, and he saw it as an opportunity. We keep hearing from the Republicans who keep lifting this up, even though it's been debunked, this hateful smear. It's been debunked by the Springfield mayor. It's been debunked by the city manager. It's been debunked by the Ohio Police Department. And we hear Republicans, national Republicans, continue to spread that hateful conspiracy theory.
And so Trump didn't really stop there. Trump then continued. Today he spoke in California, and in California, from all the places, he was talking about mass deportations. And then somehow he started confusing Haiti with Venezuela. Just take a look at this clip. It's just pure nonsense, pure hatred.
No, I will. Maybe Springfield, maybe Aurora, maybe both. We'll go there. I can say this: we will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals, not all of them, but the rest are moving in now.
I mean, what are you talking about? And by the way, Keith, to your point, yeah, I wish Kamala Harris would speak on that, not in an ad. An ad feels like you are monetizing, right? Or you're using this issue to promote something. There are many issues, and I'm presenting to you tonight 3 ads. One that is widely shared, and 2 not, because they're very much targeting certain communities, and we're going to talk about it. But Rosie, you're right. He's insane, and he is violent, and he leads to violence. You know, we're talking about January 6th as that day when he caused violence, but it's so much is happening on a daily basis, so much hatred. Look at all those Ku Klux Klan folks that are feeling that they're entitled to now voice their stupid, disgusting opinions on the daily. Look at what happened on my Twitter, where yesterday I shared that the post office, right, workers are endorsing Harris Walls. This thing went viral because several of those MAGA folks retweeted it. So now it has like 500,000, whatever views. I'm like not even watching it or looking at it. And so it just hatred in the comments. It's so much hatred. And then I blocked them one by one because they started subscribing in masses for some reason. I started blocking them one by one. So in case you see somebody who is discussing or producing some disgusting comments or feedback, message me, send me the profile, and I will be blocking it. Not because I don't want everybody to read my content. No, I want everybody to consume actual news. But how social media works, same as with YouTube, same as with Twitter, with anything. You are growing based on the audience you are attracting. So if we're welcoming Magaville folks that will be trolling us, our watch parties will be problematic to host. It will require so much fact checking and really going to everybody's Twitter profile and seeing what they're posting. So we're not, caught in this weirdness, right? When we're watching something and there's trolls. Also on the daily basis, like I want this community to be decent. And if somebody who is from the MAGA side wants to learn about actual news and wants to broaden their horizon, you're very welcome to join. I'm totally not against you. But if you are posting hatred, whether it is towards me or anybody else, I will be blocking you. You can disagree with Kamala Harris. You can disagree with Trump. But if you start threatening people, calling them names, and saying somebody has to die or towards me today, go to jail, whatever, nobody wants to see that. Okay? So this is not what I'm doing. I think Walls mentioned it in his speech today or yesterday. I think yesterday. Yeah, Brandon, that's good. Yeah. Kamala needs to host a rally in vacation area in Florida. Yeah, today, by the way, the second gentleman hosted, and not really a rally, but a gathering in the villages in Florida. And so many people supported, but again, it wasn't live streamed, it wasn't broadcast because spouses are considered surrogates. So that's not being widely broadcast. So I'm personally looking for their schedules to attend second gentleman's and also Gwen Walsh's rallies and events to broadcast and live stream it because it's very important to see that. And those are amazing. They're doing such a good job. 100%, I bet. Yeah. The villages are showing this level of support. Yeah. And it's like, I know some folks commented you have to be a Floridian to understand, but we all know that this is sort of like the heart from the MAGAville or MAGA community. So seeing that, it's pretty good, right? Do I assume that Florida is going to be blue? No, I don't think so. But certainly a good way to, a good thing to see. Honestly, I'm just tired. My wife and in-laws are Haitian. It's outrageous, but it's just exhausting. Exactly, exactly, and it's for no particular reason, absolutely no reason. And then you listen to Trump, who is like, oh, they're gonna go back to Venezuela. So for him, Haitian and Venezuela is like same thing. What are you talking about? Can somebody put this grandpa somewhere away? Don't hurt him, but just remove. Um, Now let's talk about Ukraine, and then we're going to go towards the Harris campaign. But this morning we were all gathered. Well, reporters were gathered who covered the National Security Council. For Gaggle was John Kirby, where he confirmed 3 times: don't expect any news, don't expect any updates from President Biden or from us in terms of Ukraine striking deep into Russia. And there are a few reasons for that. We can guesstimate. We don't know for sure because I am not Biden and I am not Kirby and I'm not Sullivan and I'm not Secretary Blinken. All those four were in the meeting with Starmer and equivalent of those, right? Lammy and all those that attended the meeting and at the White House in the Oval Office. There could be two reasons. Either one, most visible one, that yes, Putin said that it will be seen by Russia as NATO being a part of the war. Contradicting to that, I mean, the counter question would be: is Iran and China also considered now part of the war since they're in the open? Supply Russia with missiles in terms of Iran, drones in terms of Iran, and parts, right? The chips and everything. That's China. And also financially still operating with Russia, sponsoring that war economy. So either NATO community said we don't want to be a part of it. Putin, can escalate. Or what I spoke about yesterday, or maybe a mix of both, that when Secretary Blinken and Lammy, foreign secretary or foreign minister of the UK, traveled to Kiev, they listened to Zelensky, they listened to the ministers there, or the foreign minister there, the new one, and they got a list from Ukraine of the targets that Ukraine wants to hit inside Russia. Then it was reported that the list has been updated since then. Perhaps it did include some, personal assets of Putin, just for the sake of it. Perhaps it included Crimea. Perhaps that was considered to be a step too far. And then you give Ukraine a green light and they're going to overuse that green light. Again, we're guesstimating. Let's wait and see. There might be also a third option. And that is the option that if you were to ask me, again, this is my personal opinion, I would guesstimate that the third option is the real option, is that it is working, it is being prepared, it is that something, it is that something that will be announced at a later point once Ukraine has successfully completed the first strike. And then it will say, well, US actually did allow that before that, so Ukraine didn't violate anything. Moving on, guys. That's what I guesstimate is gonna happen, because it blew so much out of proportion. And just remember, we are in a war. Russia is listening as much as we are. Russia is reading as much as we do. And Russia is there to eliminate those attacks and everything that Ukraine will be using to strike deep inside Russia. So what I think would make sense is that yes, US, UK, and NATO members are working on it. Then we will see one strike inside Russia. And then the international community will say, well, we actually did allow that. So they haven't violated anything. So, and then Putin, he already did not react at that point. Once the first strike is successfully conducted, he did not react. So it puts him in this like, they hurt me, right? I didn't do anything. And then the international community said they didn't violate anything. So for me now to do something, now I'm placing the ball in their corner, and then they will hit me real proper and real hard, right? So in that, I think, because just analyze what did happen with the Kursk region. Ukrainians, 1,000 of them, soldiers, marched through um, the what the word that I'm looking for? Border. border. Ukrainians marched through the border, took over villages, took over a pretty large area. Russia did not defend. Russia did not send troops. Russia did not send um, anything to protect their civilians. What they did, they said, hey, here's 100 rubles if you want to evacuate and move to Moscow, where you can really wipe your behind with those 100 rubles. That's what it costs there. And then all the Moscow elites were saying, well, who are these people? We hate them. Who are those village people? So people stayed, and then Ukraine opened supermarkets, sent Ukrainian trains. People are singing in Ukrainian. They're now running some sort of like not election but something, so people are organized. Ukrainians are sending humanitarian aid there and taking care of those people. What Putin did, he just completely removed his forces. He's not even caring about that territory. So when this was conducted, do you think that US was really caught off guard? Do you really think that? Do you think that Zelensky was born with the balls big as this earth and he's like, oh, whatever, let me march inside Russia, nuclear power, and let Biden find out later? Do you really believe that? But how was the reaction? There was no reaction. International community, as much as US and Biden said, well, we see what Ukraine is doing. We're waiting. We're waiting to see what is their intention behind it. We don't really know yet. Since then, there was no update on Kursk. So wait and see until Ukraine does have a successful operation with the strike inside Russia, and then international community will say, but listen, they're defending themselves, and we have to wait and see. We don't know. Or they will say, we actually did allow that. So that is sort of my more bomb threats in Springfield again today. Yeah, it's despicable. It's disgusting. And I'm happy that President Biden spoke about that, but I think there needs to be a statement. There needs to be a readout, a proper readout. Russia is also deeply integrated in our Congress in a way they never have been before. Yeah, sitting senators and House members have publicly leaked into White House. Has to be careful. Yeah, exactly. You're operating. If you've ever watched these series, I think it's on Apple TV, which really depicts it well. When Michael Douglas plays Benjamin Franklin, when he traveled to Paris to negotiate aid, right, during the war, so which led to American independence. From the Brits, and he was surrounded by pretty much agents that worked for London, and he was kind of like maneuvering, and that's exactly what we're dealing with. And especially add now internet to it and immediate imminent information exchange. Of course you have to be careful. So I think I laid out 3 versions. If you ask me, I tend to strike with a third, or stick with a third version. Now, Fox News at the White House raised this question. I don't have a clip for you because I don't want to spread this. But the lady who replaces Ducey, she said, look, this is a problem of this administration, slow walking into this war, not protecting Ukraine. Why don't you allow Ukraine to strike, blah, blah, blah. All of that was done, and it led to that successfully. For this clip, and Fox News to be praised by Ukrainian anchors, news anchors, reporters, demographic in general. And then, of course, people like, okay, Fox News is for us. Fox News is pushing Biden to help us. Fox News is good. Tuning to Fox News. Trump is good. And then that all leads to promoting Trump. I do not trust Fox News to really care. I do trust them to integrate, to use that, right? To this message and this questioning, to integrate themselves into the mindset and into the trust of Ukrainian public, to then say, well, Fox News is Trump is good, Fox News is good. So I'm not spreading this. Now, this question was again raised in terms of letting Ukraine strike or not at the White House. Here's what Karine said.
Into Russia.
Yeah, his comments about NATO and the U.S. more specifically. Look, that kind of rhetoric certainly is dangerous, but it's not new. It's not new for Russia. Matter of fact, it has been the mainstay of Russian propaganda throughout this war that they've had. This is their war that they've had in Ukraine. This is their aggression. This is what they have done. This is what Mr. Putin has done, to be more specific, and that's how it started. And this war can end. This war, the war that we're seeing in Ukraine, the aggression from Russia can end today. Can end today. Russia can move their troops out.
So, Secretary Austin traveled today with the First Lady, Jill Biden, to Montgomery, Alabama, which I will talk about in a second. But he also gave a press briefing, and the first question was about Ukraine. And in that, in his answer, he explained why we shouldn't be focusing on ATACMS being used to strike inside Russia, how there are other possibilities to do so, how they can use those possibilities not to provoke Russia, which could be really a safety net. I will provide the exact readout, exact question and exact answer, because I don't want to do any editorial work on it or rephrase it. I want you to exactly read from Secretary Austin what he said and he explained. This will be in the newsletter tonight because it's like 1.5 pages. But read it, analyze it, and this is exactly his words, really copy pasted for the reason for you to have exact information. So Prime Minister Starmer of the UK and President Biden met at the Oval Office today. Before that, when the press pool entered and the British reporter screamed a question, President Biden said, why won't you just stay quiet until I start talking? And everybody was like, So he didn't like that. Dark Brandon came to mind. Very nice. And so then they provided readouts, right, per usual. So President Biden, British Prime Minister Starmer emphasized strong cooperation between US and UK and on global issues. Biden praised the UK's leadership in supporting Ukraine against Russian aggression, outlined the discussion topics, efforts to address Middle East crisis, including securing a deal and humanitarian aid, and the importance of the Indo-Pacific region, highlighting the AUKUS partnership with Australia. Prime Minister Starmer pretty much agreed with everything. And so here's a readout after the meeting. The meeting provided a platform for an extensive discussion on various foreign policy matters of shared concern. During their conversation, President Biden and Prime Minister Starmer reaffirmed their strong support for Ukraine as it continues to resist Russian aggression. They voiced their profound concern regarding Iran and North Korea's supply of lethal weapons to Russia, as well as the People's Republics of China's support for Russia's defense sector. The leaders emphasized their steadfast commitment to Israel's security. They highlighted the urgent need for a ceasefire to secure the release of hostages and improve humanitarian conditions in Gaza. They also stressed the importance of Israel enhancing efforts to protect civilians and address the severe humanitarian crisis in the region. The discussion also covered Iran-backed Houthi attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea, which they collectively condemn. The leaders explored US-UK cooperation on clean energy and advanced technologies, as well as opportunities to strengthen their economic relationship. Additionally, President Biden reiterated the support for the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, underscoring its crucial role in maintaining peace and stability in Northern Ireland. This meeting underscored the continued strong partnership between US and UK, focusing on shared global challenges and opportunities for deeper collaboration. So we can say it's a bunch of nothing, right? Because there's nothing we have learned. But we have to dive deeper, right? This is a public statement. This is a readout. So how do you analyze those statements? You analyze, they spoke about Ukraine. They spoke about Gaza. They spoke about Indo-Pacific and AUKUS, right? This connection, the diplomatic connection, in case poop hits the fan, we're all together in it, right? Simply put. Talked about the Houthi attacks on the ships in the Red Sea, because that is a huge crisis there. Because they have hit, I reported, 3 ships, full tankers with oil, the crew was saved by the Brits, by the French, but the ships exploded and it's still there. So it's ecological crisis there. So they have to talk about it, because then certainly this area will be closed and whatnot. So for all other reasons too. What they also talked about is the Northern Ireland that's more related to the internal UK issues, right, in collaboration. But now we don't really know what they talked about. So when we presented with such statements and we're like, well, it's a bunch of nothing. No, they talked about actual stuff. It's just we will be finding it out by actions. In politics, as with anything, listen to what people say. Most importantly, watch to what they're doing. And that is on Ukraine, right? On Ukraine's issue. Watch what they are doing. Same as on Israel. Do we have updates? Not much. Are negotiations going? Today, Kirby said, yes, everything going, we're still trying. What does happen is that Hamas changes the agreement constantly. And we don't know how many hostages are alive and how many will they get back. The longer it drags itself out, the less number of people will be freed alive. So that is the state of affairs. Now, can they update us? Not really, because Hamas will then go and execute somebody publicly. Once you go public, they go public, but they go public with this violent action. So diplomacy needs silence. So let's stay patient. And most importantly, let's see what people are doing, because that matters most. All right. Also, President Biden reacted with a thumbs up when he was asked whether he will travel to Angola. Then he was asked about whether Putin's remarks that NATO will be at war if Ukraine strikes, if those remarks sort of make Biden nervous. And he said, I don't think about Putin at all. And this phrase here is the key for you to understand that, yes, Ukraine will be striking deep inside Russia, and then it will be handled politically. Again, this is my opinion, but let's see. Also, there's this video of Blinken when he traveled to Kiev, right? And here's the personal side of Secretary Blinken. So he went to this famous restaurant where a guy is cooking borscht. If you know this sort of beets soup, meat and beets and potatoes and all that kind of stuff, very healthy. That is Ukrainian dish, and Ukraine is very famous for it. And so take a look at Blinken going to this restaurant and learning about Ukrainian culture. Take a look.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. For me, it's a pleasure you to be here.
Thank you.
Because I think that your life will be delighted too. Before you try my borscht and after you try my borscht.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, you've heard, and I think that your dream will come true today. Please, we are fighting for our identity, and food is like part of identity. Yes. And I feel that borscht is a part of who I am. I started to travel by all the regions, making photo documents, and actually 3 years. And borscht now is part of the world heritage. Now you have to take the bread, put some sour cream here, and enjoy the best moment of your today's life.
It's great, but to achieve what you've achieved is extraordinary.
Thank you.
In such a short period of time as well. But I'm now looking forward to the evidence.
My idea, is to fight and to do the best what I can for my country. And for me, it's a pleasure. And thank you for support. But eat.
Eat. They didn't film him eating, which is unfortunate. But if you want to see what borscht looks like, I can literally show you. I have my parents over. It's very nice. All right. Another also visit to Ukraine was paid by Michael Douglas and his son. They met with Zelensky and the First Lady of Ukraine. So I want you to take a look at that and pay attention as to what Zelensky talks about Kamala Harris, and also meeting her as much as meeting Trump. Take a listen.
Okay, I'm very happy to see you. Very happy to see you. My son Dylan.
President's honor. Thank you for having us.
Congratulations, son. Young country, 30 years, democracy. We're now relatively old, 278. We're getting our problems, too much money involved in our elections and all that. But you're an inspiration, and you're a great reminder for our country about what democracy means. How everybody has to be responsible. Democracy is a lot of work for citizens. Otherwise, you can go to a dictatorship and you don't have to do anything, nothing to do. So I'm sure you know, but you've been really an inspiration and a reminder for all of us of how important. And now we're an endangered species. You know, democracies. Who thought that it was going to be so difficult?
We will have meeting with President Biden, and I think that maybe we will have meetings with both candidates.
Yeah.
With Kamala Harris and then
With
Congress,
Trump,
and maybe with Donald Trump.
Were you happy with the conference, with the fourth conference?
Summit. I'm happy now. This was like for me the best.
I mean, just being here the last few days, you hear the air sirens. It's 24/7. It doesn't stop, right? So they're reminding the youth about this conflict, how important it is, not just for Ukraine, but Europe, the West, it's the world. You know, this is the front line of good and evil. And if we don't win here, we lose everywhere.
Thank you so much for this understanding. It's really you are right, totally right about that the situation in the Middle East, this crisis, of course, the focus the situation on Ukraine.
Okay, and please straight to my camera. Good. One more. Okay.
So, Douglas, I like him, but he talked in favor of Biden and then passed the torch thing. He talked against Biden. So I'm still digesting. I'm not over it. But, you know, I mean, they traveled. And what I don't like, what I would suggest if anybody from Zelensky's team is listening, and I know some of them are following me on Twitter. First of all, Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Trump, which is pure ethics and facts. And second, why? You know, Zelensky also met today with former Prime Minister of the UK, Johnson, who, you know, is meeting with Trump and all that. Just be careful. You know, Zelensky already got himself into the doo-doo last time. Either stay away, or if you're mixing, then mix correctly. But Kamala Harris, not Kamala. Okay, a readout from International Criminal Court. This is tough to digest. You know, I'm Ukrainian-born U.S. citizen. I'm from Kharkiv region, so this is about Kharkiv region. It was inspected by the ICC. They inspected torture chambers set up by Russian military during the occupation of Kharkiv region. The press service of the Prosecutor General's office reported, quote, head of investigations of international crimes committed in Ukraine from the prosecutor's office of the International Criminal Court, Brenda Hollis, together with her team and head of Department of Combating Crimes Committed in Armed Conflict of the Prosecutor General's office, Yuri Belousov, inspected torture chambers set up by the Russian military during the occupation of Kharkiv region. As reported by Spartak Borisenko, a representative of the Kharkiv Regional Prosecutor's Office, you can see the pictures here, law enforcement officers discovered 25 torture chambers in Kharkiv region. According to him, the evidence collected indicates that torture, physical, psychological, and sexual violence were used against the detainees. People were given almost no food and were given only technical water to drink. They filed down their teeth, tied their wrists, and lifted people's bodies into the air with a crane with a metal hook, pulled out their nails, applied electricity that was supplied through wires tied to various parts of the body, and beaten with rubber truncheons. We are examining and investigating each fact, working with the victims so that Russia is held accountable for the abuse of the people, he emphasized. Some folks asked, I think Lisa asked about the timing. So it was released today. Of course, it takes years, literally years, for ICC to prosecute. This all happened when the war started. And how do I know? Is because this is where my family's from. This is when the house was bombed, when it was occupied by Russians. This is when people started fleeing, right, and were shot in the cars. All family, complete families, when Russians invaded. This really started from day one, and it continued through the first, let's say, half a year. So that is the time what I think it is related to, but certainly horrific. Today, also, State Department Secretary Blinken addressed the press right away. In the beginning of their briefing, he announced the operations of the Russian RT, this infamous Russia Today, right, that we talked about a week ago when they exposed Russia Today, employing Tucker Carlson and all this sort of MAGA influencers, right? And also running 32 websites where they would put articles that are fake, that would look exactly like a replica of an article at Washington Post or New York Times, which buttons were with buttons connected to the actual site, so nobody would, smell sort of the fakeness. So they closed those 32 websites, but RT is a large operations. So today, Secretary Blinken revealed that they are successfully abusing their power as a media company under fake names, and present themselves as social media digital companies in Germany, in France, in Africa, where they manipulate the elections, and if the election doesn't go their way, they do their best to provoke violence. So they presented the entire list of those people who then were sanctioned. The list will be, and the details will be in the newsletter, so you can take a read. Also click on some links and see what the question or what the talk is about. RT today tweeted during Blinken's conference, it turns out we're not meddling in US elections, but in Moldovan elections too. Oh my God, didn't realize we were so powerful. Very interesting. Blinken, go on. This is an official, you see, official TV station tweeting, first of all, in such a language. And second of all, we know, we have the proof. Blinken spoke about it. Those who are responsible for the investigation spoke about it. They also shared that RT was running fundraisers to get the money and buy drones for Russian army that were supplied from China. And media then decided to focus just on that. And the investigators said, listen, we actually are telling you the entire operation that is so multinational, and it really goes with the playbook that is running here. Now, I don't cover State Department. I was really listening in awe, thinking, why nobody asks, is that what they're doing now? Because whatever you're describing, meddling with elections, provoking violence if the elections don't go your way, this is the description of January 6th. Is that RT connected? Have that on record. Have them confirm it or have them deny it. Ask those questions. Why are you focusing on drones from Russia or China? China is openly supporting Russia. That is not news. I don't know what type of headline you're fishing there, but ask, are we dealing with this shit show? Are you gonna reveal the names? Reveal the names. Don't protect their identity. Reveal the names. Yes, Tucker Carlson. Yes, all of those folks in media. But most importantly, reveal the names of those in Congress. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene on Russian payroll? Is she paid through Twitter monetization? I want those answers. Ask those questions. Maybe I'm gonna stomp into the State Department and start asking those questions. I'm gonna say, who's this crazy woman? Get her out. But ask those questions. You guys are dealing with it, not the White House. State Department is doing this together with IRS and Treasury, right? They find things out together with intelligence community. Then they present their statements. Then the sanctions and the consequences are then handled by the Treasury and the IRS. Now, ask those goddamn questions. Who is on Russian payroll? Africa is shocking. Not really. Africa is very much Putin land. The mercenaries, right? The Wagner Group is operating in Africa. And when they mess up with their operations, they're being tortured and killed. I'm not reporting on it much, but I can. It's very much Africans are recruited to fight in Russia. That's why you see people that not really look Russian fighting for Russia. But then they say this is Ukrainians and they flip the narrative. So, genuine question, is Alex Jones a Russian asset? Yes. Been hearing about the torture from Ukrainians. I follow on Twitter for quite some time. Yeah, it's been from the very, very beginning. Does Blinken get the SS? I don't know about Secret Service, but he gets protection. He gets the security. Not sure if we refer to that as Secret Service. Another readout from USCIS. So this is, if you're an immigrant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the Immigration Department, or those United States, what is it, Citizenship and Immigration Services. They're celebrating Constitution Day and Citizenship Day, marking the start of Constitution Week, which goes from September 17th to 23rd. This week honors the signing of the US Constitution and the history of Citizenship Day, which began in 1940 as I Am an American Day and was officially recognized in 1952. USAS Director Jadot highlighted the agency's commitment to promoting citizenship and removing barriers to immigration benefits. During Constitution Week, USCIS will host 467 naturalization ceremonies across the U.S., welcoming over 17,000 new citizens. Notably, USCIS will also hold a special event with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, where the director will administer the oath of allegiance. The agency has made significant strides in supporting citizenship, including reducing the naturalization backlog by 60% and improving processing times. USCIS has also updated the Form N-400. That's when you apply for your citizenship naturalization. To facilitate Social Security updates, include a third gender option and provide clearer guidance on confidentiality and children's citizenship. What I can share with you, when I applied for my naturalization with the Social Security, yeah, they register you too. Is my Social Security exchanged because of whatever I got as a student? It said student, I went there, I waited for a day, and they said, keep that goddamn paper. It's fine. It's like, it says I'm a student. I'm not a student for like past 20 years. No, keep the damn paper. It's fine. I'm still, a little beastie about it. Because every time I show my, Social Security card, it says you're a student. Okay, another news from the Treasury. The U.S. Treasury Department proposed new rules to support tribal nations in delivering general welfare benefits. It's pretty huge. Again, longer readout is in the newsletter. So under these regulations, tribal governments can provide non-taxable assistance, including housing aid and cultural support, with benefits excluded from federal income tax. That's the huge part. This move highlights the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to tribal self-determination and reflects deep respect for indigenous customs. The proposal comes after extensive consultations with tribal leaders, aiming to provide clarity and promote economic opportunity. So it goes really in wide more or deeper inside the business aspect of it, inside the investment. So take a look at the readout if that's something that interests you, and certainly I think we all have to learn about it. Trying to type on the tablet. Cut my comment off. Okay, all right, I'll wait for the comment then. Let me remove this. Okay, so let's continue. Now about the Harris campaign. So first and foremost, this morning they launched an ad targeting the Hispanic community. And the fun part is that it features a trusted voice in Pennsylvania. So the local PA radio host, Victor Martinez, said, I've interviewed many candidates, they all talk, but the difference is that Kamala Harris actually listens. So take a look at this ad.
My name is Victor Martinez. You may recognize my voice. I've interviewed many candidates. They all talk. The difference is Kamala Harris listens. She heard the cries of families getting their homes taken away by corrupt banks. So she fought for them and won. I know she'll listen to the voices of Pennsylvania families and stand up to greedy corporations, making it harder to afford food and pay the rent.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
And before we review other two ads that are very connected to Ukraine, I got a hold of the drone footage that they did the drone show, right, for Trump when he was driving to the debate in Pennsylvania. Okay, I have it. Take a look.
Oh, shit. Bro, that is crazy. Oh, no. Oh, no.
We're not going back. So that is the footage here. Now, I told you Harris' campaign has issued new ads targeting battleground states, but really also those that are coming from Eastern Europe and Ukrainian supporters. And yesterday I spoke a bit about history, and so we're, I guess, on the same length, you know, wavelength. They included the history part in the ads. I have two ads for you. Take a look at the first one.
My name is Victor Martinez. You may recognize my.
We saw it already. Here's the actual the ad that I was talking about.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And when one man is enslaved, all are not free.
American presidents, Republican and Democrat, have always defied Russia's communist dictators and defended American ideals. Kamala Harris gets this.
If we stand by while an aggressor invades its neighbor with impunity, they will keep going.
Kamala Harris will stand up to Putin, protect our allies, and keep us safe.
And now the ad that, yes, goes about Ukraine, but really talks about dictators.
When Mongol warriors stormed Ukraine, Kyiv's church bells rang a night warning. They rang again when Ukrainians rallied for democracy. Today, they're warning the world of Putin's threat to freedom. Yet Donald Trump embraces Putin.
I like Putin, he likes me.
He picked J.D. Vance.
I don't really care what happens to Ukraine.
But Kamala Harris cares. She knows standing up to Putin keeps America safe.
It was also shared by the campaign that Vice President Harris is entering an aggressive phase of campaigning with the New Way Forward tour. The Vice President, Governor Walz, Second Gentleman Emhoff, and Mrs. Walz are barnstorming the battlegrounds to crystallize the choice voters have between Vice President Harris' forward-looking vision for America and Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda to drag America back to the past. And you saw it. She held two rallies yesterday. She visited small businesses today and held a rally again today in Pennsylvania. When asked how does she feel about Pennsylvania, she said thumbs up. She feels actually very positive. She was introduced by Shapiro. She was introduced by a lady whose mother was a MAGA person. She was a MAGA person, and then her mom, trusting Trump, did whatever he advised her to do, and she passed away. And so that's when the daughter woke up and she said, listen, I can't follow this MAGAville anymore. And so she introduced Kamala Harris. I streamed it on Twitter and on YouTube. I will attach the link to the newsletter. So watch this rally. It really, in terms of the speech and the topics, it mirrors the rallies yesterday. But certainly very, very good to see and watch. And what I can say is that Kamala Harris feels more free, right? And more at ease during those rallies. She was also confronted and disturbed by the Gaza protesters. And she said, listen, we're working on the Gaza deal nonstop around the clock, but now I'm speaking. And then the crowd started cheering. So there was a unique footage that was premiered today, this morning on Morning Joe. Is the Hillary Clinton book that is being now recorded in audio format. They have released the introduction where she describes this period when President Biden stepped down, and so to speak, I hate the saying, but he passed the torch to Kamala Harris. Now, they premiered the audio. Take a listen.
After I got off the phone with the vice president, I looked at Bill with a huge smile and said, this is exciting. I felt promise. I felt possibility. It was exhilarating. When I imagine Kamala standing before the Capitol next January, taking the oath of office as our first woman president, my heart leaps. After hard years of division, it will prove that our best days are still ahead, and that we are making progress on our long journey toward a more perfect union. And it will make such a difference in the lives of hardworking people everywhere. For now, thinking about this momentous period, I find myself turning back to where this book began. As Joni Mitchell sang all those years ago, something's lost, but something's gained. Democrats have lost our standard bearer. We will miss Joe Biden's steady leadership, deep empathy, and fighting spirit. He is a wise and decent man who served our country well. Yet we have gained much too: a new champion, an invigorated campaign, and a renewed sense of purpose.
Here you have it. Now, the torch was passed, but I want to share with you something you probably don't see anywhere, because this is just a screenshot I took from today's poll report, press poll report, from the press poll of Kamala Harris. It's New York Times today reporting. It's usually one that is selected to report for everybody. And so you have many, many newspapers. So if you get there once in 2 months, that's your thing. It's VP's poll report. It's not President Biden's poll report, but you might be confused when you read it. Take a look at this part. VP Harris did not respond to a shouted question about the Boeing strike. That's today. As she boarded Air Force 2 at 3:36 p.m., she stumbled slightly near the top of the stairs, but recovered without incident and turned to smile and wave before entering the plane. Poole thought it sounded like she may have kicked a step by accident on her way up. How is this necessary to report on this? But I'm telling you, what Fox News does, they take this report and make that breaking news and make that headlines. And that leads us, if you think about Hillary, right? Oh, she is sick. She's falling apart. She's losing consciousness, right? Oh, she's a weak woman. All of this nonsense comes from those poll reports. And so whenever I read this sort of like a nasty thing, or she's sitting down with a local TV station, she's not doing anything national. All of this mess comes from there. And really, I mean, I stumble. I don't know about you. I stumble. You don't want to see me going up and down the stairs. Things happen. Why do we need to really report on that? I didn't like it. What we need to report on is Trump. And not his usual nonsense, But there's this big rumor about him and Laura Loomer, the one that spreads this most disgusting, despicable information. And it went so far. I mean, she was on the airplane yesterday with him, and she flew to 9/11 site with him, although she's the one spreading misinformation that it was an inside job and New York wanted to kill its people and all that kind of nonsense. So this is Laura Loomer talking about MAGA overtaking Republican Party. Take a look.
The official drink of America First. Link. To the hostile takeover of the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
This is the KKK Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer. Here's to the hostile takeover of the Republican Party. Is that what you guys want? George W. Bush, who doesn't want to endorse anybody, is that what makes you proud? This woman with the fake ass face is 30, I think 30 or 31. This is Trump when asked about her.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
What value do you feel that Laura Loomer brings to you? And has nobody told you about the conspiracy theories that she is promoting?
No, I don't know that much about it. No, I don't. I know she's a big fan of the campaign, but I really don't know. I would say that, she brings a spirit to us that a lot of people have. We have very spirited people. And in all fairness to her, she hates seeing what's happened to the country, I guess. I mean, she hates seeing what's happened to the country. So do I. It's very sad.
Exactly, Terry. Stumbled too. Yeah, but they're reporting on it as if it was a big deal. Strange to hear any past president say he's staying neutral about democracy. Indeed, really shameful. Really shameful. Is that a mosquito flying? Also, what Trump did announce is that for the housing plan, illegal immigrants will be banned from renting apartments or taking mortgages. How sick is that? Because so many people live here their entire lives. They pay tax. They benefit to the community. They live here for years. When it comes to Trump, his wife, right, or wife-ish, Melania, she has been illegal for a very long time. She overstayed her visa until he married her. So imagine what that really will be in reality. The mass deportations. How do you recognize one person from another? How do you recognize that I'm legal and somebody else that looks like me is illegal? How do you recognize that somebody who's Hispanic is legal and illegal? So many people will be wrongfully detained and tortured and violently treated. And then if we talk about what, you're going to throw people out of their homes, right? Cancel out their mortgages, kick them out of their apartments. That rhetoric can become reality. It's really sickening. So to your point, how can George W. Bush or anybody else not speak against it? I will be asking again, Republican Party, your party is being invaded. It's time. It's time to cut out this cancerous movement, because whatever you were standing for, or you are still standing for, does not exist anymore. Wake the hell up. It's not about the Democrats. Yeah, you will lose this election, but you will use 4 years to heal. Otherwise, in 4 years, they already have announced Project 2028. They already have filed for it. They announced it. They openly spoke about it. This Robertson or whatever guy, Roberts, whatever the Heritage Foundation leader, he said, yes, there will be Project 2028. No worries about it. We're not going anywhere. And we are supported by billionaires' money. Despicable, disgusting. Another thing that's disgusting, and I'm sorry to say that to all the Catholics in the house, Pope says both Trump and Harris are against life. Here's how he explains it. Pope Francis said American Catholic voters had to choose the lesser of two evils because Donald Trump is cruel toward immigrants, and Kamala Harris is cruel because she supports abortion rights. I want him to talk to a woman who is bleeding because she needs an abortion, medical abortion. I want him to talk about women and explain why is it in God's mind and will to take their rights away and treat them as whatever class citizens. And how do you compare that to people who are living in the United States and are here legally benefiting to community, throwing them across the border, doing what he is doing, Trump now, to Haitians, spreading the rumors and nonsense that leads to violence and there's bombs in schools. How do you compare this? Did you check from Trump or from Russia Clear, or what happened? It's disgusting. On a different note, First Lady Jill Biden and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin visited Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. Here's a video of Secretary Austin arriving. So they visited Maxwell Air Force Base to highlight the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to supporting military families. The visit focused on the new universal pre-kindergarten program being implemented at Department of Defense Education Activity schools, marking a significant accomplishment for the administration and paving the way for future universal pre-K initiatives in public schools nationwide. The visit began with a closed press tour of Starbase Maxwell, a Department of Defense STEM program, which, by the way, president or the first both and First Lady celebrated during the Easter, right? We had those balloons with science, technology, English, I think, and math. Or was it? No. Yeah, engineering and math. Yes, STEM. So the STEM program that connects DoD resources with local students to enhance education in science, technology, engineering, and math. Following this, the First Lady and Secretary Austin proceeded to Maxwell Air Force Base Elementary Middle School, where they were briefed on the new full-day pre-kindergarten program. They met with educators and students engaged in play-based learning activities. So a bit of a background on this DODEA, right? So It has implemented universal full-day pre-kindergarten at 80 of its 90 elementary schools for the 24-25 school year, 2024-2025 school year. This expansion aims to increase equity and access, providing early education services to all 4-year-olds. The remaining 10 schools will join the program in subsequent phases. Now, the background on joining forces. This is the First Ladies program. Joining forces is the First Ladies initiative designed to support military and veteran families, caregivers, and survivors. Guided by insights from listening sessions with military-connected families, the initiative has seen the First Lady visit over 25 military installations and partner with joining forces to support more than 125 events for the military community in the past 4 years. Now, bit of background on Maxwell Air Force Base Elementary Middle School. MAMS as a department is a Department of Defense Education Activity School, serves military students from pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. Since its establishment in 1963, the school has provided educational services to military dependents residing in permanent housing at Maxwell Air Force Base. So, but a video that got 1.2 million views from a veteran directed to Donald Trump the morning after debate went viral, and I want to show it to you. Take a look.
Good morning, Donald J. How's it feel this morning after getting your ass kicked in a national televised presidential debate? And then to top that off, after the debate, you got a swift kick. Ha ha ha!
That went viral. I'm all for it. Okay, let's read your comments. I guess you're having a conversation. Catholic religion didn't exactly treat women as first-class citizens, indeed, or any religion. I'd like him to show me the exact scripture where it says abortion is sinful, indeed. Brand, exactly. They don't really like children either. They like children when they're in this stage of being an embryo, but then school shootings, let's neglect that. Kids being fat at schools, let's neglect that. This is, money for children that are newborns, for them to get whatever, parents cannot afford, let's neglect that. So kids are not really treated well once they're born. They're just considered once they're not born yet. I agree. It's more those hierarchy and power. It's all about the power. Yes. If Pope is going to weigh in, Catholic Church can say bye to tax exempt status. Exactly, right? What is bad separation of church and state? And also, he's in Italy where abortion is free and considered legal. Why is he weighing in on our candidates? Was he weighing in on the Russian candidate? And there was one only? Was he weighing in on the French elections, British elections? What are you doing here? How is this your business? And LOL, nice video. That's about the veteran. Yeah. So last thing, what I want to mention is that Kamala Harris and Oprah Winfrey will hold a private virtual event that I'm inviting you to RSVP to. We're going to have our watch party on September 19th. It will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern. I put the link where you can RSVP, so it's pinned to my account. Take a look, RSVP. That's also where we're gonna test our new system. So on honestnetwork.com, and it will also have app access. We're gonna have our own community thing with the timeline like Twitter. I'm not making you leave anything. No, it's a safety net. So it's a timeline. You can create your profile page with picture and all of this. You can comment, you can share, and there, protected by a personal login, you will have access to all watch parties. So you can join any watch party, chat with like-minded people. Everybody will be verified. It's all free. It's all safe. And if somebody misbehaves, we have all the possibility to exclude them. There will be also articles, access to newsletters, and everything. So my whole idea is to have the safety net that I do control. So in case something happened on X, you see I'm already limited. There's no followers. I'm somehow exposed to MAGA now that I'm blocking. As much as Instagram and YouTube, right? I'm not monetized anywhere because I'm against everybody's conditions and rules. I don't know. So for that reason, I want us to have a safety net. So you're going to have your password that I have no access to. We're not saving any emails. We're not saving anything. And you're not putting any credit cards anywhere because it's free anyway. So just safe, protected, and personal. And so we will be testing it for very first our watch party on September 19th. So until then, you will be given an opportunity to create your login. Isn't that on Zoom? No, we're gonna have that in our watch party, but you can join the campaign and do whatever, watch with them. Totally here for watch party. Yeah. Will you engage on there, or is it just platform for community to converse with each other? No, I will be there. I will be there. My goal is to, provide more insights into press polls, into reports. Let's say I'm reporting from the vice presidential debate on October 1st on CBS. I would like to go live and share some insights and have interviews. But am I comfortable doing that live on Twitter if I'm interviewing somebody and I don't know this person? They can say anything, they can be anybody, right? Am I comfortable putting that on Elon Musk's platform where somebody can troll me or whatever, or be nasty, and then it explodes and people, harass me or harass all of us? I'm not sure. So I would rather do that on something that I have control over for like-minded people, So that is my idea, to be there, to engage with folks, to, for you to ask questions, for us to hold town halls, for you to, fast forward questions to anybody I'm interviewing. Also just disclose what events I'm covering, when am I polling, when am I in DC, and all that. I'm not comfortable putting that on Twitter or YouTube or any social media, but I'm comfortable putting that there. So that's it. Done. Happy Friday. If we have news, I will be live. If not, then we see each other per usual on Monday at 8 p.m. I will be posting throughout the weekend. I will be streaming the rallies throughout the weekend. Whatever is public, I will be streaming it. I will be blocking all the nasty comments. So don't turn nasty. Okay. All right, I already answered that. And thanks. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please share the newsletter thing because we have actual news. I want you to know the actual news. Onest.substack.com. Thank you for your support. Thank you. I appreciate you for your tweets and retweets and quotes and likes and shares and whatever that is. Have a very good weekend. Stay safe and stay sane. And go outside, enjoy some time, off the politics and off a computer, right? Eliza says, have a good weekend, everybody. Yes, Brendan goes, thanks, have a good weekend. Keith, have a good weekend. Y'all protect your mental health. Indeed, Keith. Yes, Brandon, have a good weekend. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Another week is gone and we're ready for the next one, okay? Have a good night. Thank you for joining.